Alleged hit at the picket line.
Hopefully we could lay the charges against the driver who have willful intent to harm people who just here fighting for their job.
What happened today outside Titan Tool and Die? By Canadian.
Small and medium-sized businesses were among the first to feel the impact of the tariffs.
The federal government announces a new policy for small and medium-sized businesses. And winter weather blankets the region.
It's beautiful, it's bright, it's refreshing.
It was just sudden, so I'm not prepared at all.
Were you ready for the first snowfall of the season?
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening and thank you for joining us both on CTV Windsor and AM 800. Windsor police were called back to Titan Tool and Die today amid allegations uniform members were hurt on the picket line. Joining us with the details of this story tonight, CTV's Michelle Molesky. Michelle.
Yeah, Stephanie, another addition in this ongoing saga at the local parts manufacturer. Unifor Local 195 President Emil Nabout says 3 striking workers were struck this morning by a transport truck. According to Nabout, it happened after a truck from Michigan left the Howard Avenue factory. He does, however, describe their injuries as minor. Windsor police confirmed they were there to investigate but wouldn't confirm the injuries. The company wouldn't confirm the injuries either. About 25 Titan Tool workers have been locked out since mid-August, and they've been maintaining a picket line ever since.
Basically, under the management direction, the transport truck came here to pick up some tool and equipment, and basically they make no attempt to stop the truck. The Windsor police was being contacted, and hopefully we could lay the charges against the driver who have willful intent to harm people who just here fighting for their job.
Titan's lawyers also told us they had the sheriff's office at the factory this morning to enforce their injunction, quote, lawfully, efficiently, and safely. We asked if that meant equipment and parts left the factory today. They didn't respond. Titan does have an injunction that prevents Unifor from barricading the entrances, Stefanie, to both Titan Tool as well as Futura Tool and Die.
Okay, we will continue to follow this as it develops.
Continues to develop, for sure.
Okay, Michelle Molesky with our top story tonight. Thank you for this, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Unrelated, a 65-year-old man is recovering after being struck by a fire truck in East Windsor on Friday night. Police say it happened around 9 o'clock at Riverside Drive East and Perrin Avenue. A preliminary investigation found the man was crossing the street outside a designated crosswalk when he was hit by a Windsor Fire and Rescue Services truck. He was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. At this time, police say no charges have been laid. This investigation is ongoing. Environment Canada has issued a special weather statement for Windsor and Essex County this weekend, and it delivered the season's first measurable snowfall on Sunday morning. In the 5-hour period from 3 o'clock until just before 9 o'clock at night, Essex County OPP responded to 20 collisions on Highway 401 alone. Police also say 2 officers were injured when their cruisers were struck from behind by motorists. Constable Stephen Dugay says the cruisers had its emergency lights and flashing on, warning drivers to slow down and to move over.
One of our cruisers was struck, was rear-ended. 2 officers were inside the vehicle at the time. They were transported to the hospital for precautionary measures. They did sustain some minor injuries.
Wet and slushy conditions left some drivers caught off guard, while others say it's just part of life living here in southwestern Ontario.
It's kind of a nice for a change with a hot summer, and I actually kind of prefer this, being outside running in this, than I do in the heat sometimes. So you just got to bundle up, and it's clean, it's refreshing, it feels good, and yeah.
I love it so much. Winter is my favorite. I am a Canadian. It's beautiful, it's bright, it's refreshing, it makes me happy.
It's cold. It's very cold. It was just sudden, so I'm not prepared at all. So not looking forward to the weather. I love the snow when I'm prepared. I'm just not prepared.
It's very nice. This is Canada. I love snow. It's refreshing, and once you've taken a 4 or 5 kilometer walk, you feel like you've accomplished something.
So here is our question of the day. Were you ready for this season's first snowfall? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. On Friday, we asked if you were skipping bills to pay for groceries. Out of more than 1,200 votes, 64% say no. With more on the blanketed region, CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins us for our first look at the weather at the Weather Center tonight. Gary, is there any more snow in the forecast?
Well, of course, it's Canada, and we are in the midst of this massive system of low pressure. Of course, I'm charmed by the responses of those folks there. Not prepared? November 10th? Well, we are seeing the evidence, and it's widespread right across the Great Lakes. Snow reinforced by northwesterlies, and there's even some lake enhancement, lake effect coming off Huron, for example, and Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, even Michigan earlier today. Streams of active weather. It's the pattern right now. We are well below seasonal. We will rebound in terms of temperatures, and yes, we could see some more flurries in the next 24 hours. I'll break down what you need to know, not laughing at anyone, in just moments. For now, I'll send it back to you at the desk.
The federal government is announcing $186 million to support a new Buy Canadian policy. While the funding was announced today, the details are scarce.
Windsor small and medium-sized businesses were among the first to feel the impact of the tariffs. Yet, through every challenge, Windsor's manufacturing workers have shown resilience, skill, and pride in their craft.
Darren Clark is the VP of Operations at Anchor Danley. The company produces products like die sets, molds, and machinery bases for industries like mining, construction, and energy. They are one of several small or medium-sized Canadian businesses that will eventually be eligible to take advantage of the federal government's Buy Canadian policy. The government says the policy is designed to strengthen local industries and create jobs. The Honorable Richie Valdez, Minister of Women and Gender Equality and Secretary of State, Small Business and Tourism, in Windsor today to make the announcement. She was unable to detail how much of that $186 million figure would come directly to Windsor-Essex businesses, but says the government will prioritize funding for military defense. More details on the policy is expected to be announced in the spring.
As global trade tensions become more unpredictable, we need to make sure that Canada's success is not dependent on decisions made elsewhere. We control who we can buy from, and we choose to buy Canadian.
A new partnership is helping Habitat for Humanity open another path to affordable housing. The model should allow more homes to be built and quicker, and it's one that could be adopted across the country. CTV's Bob Belichico joins us with more on how this all works. Bob.
Well, Stephanie, this is a groundbreaking of a different kind. Now, Habitat for Humanity is getting set to build a 16-home development in Amherstburg next year, but they're actually not building the homes in Amherstburg. They're building them here at A-Links Building Technologies in Oldcastle. The homes will look similar to this one here behind me. You want to go for a tour? Let's go for the tour. Instead of shovels, wrenches mark the occasion, a fitting twist for an indoor groundbreaking and a project built on innovation.
Amico came up with the idea, saying that they had a bit of property and they wanted to develop modular homes in partnership with us.
A-Links Building Technologies is teaming up with Habitat for Humanity to build 16 new modular homes in Amherstburg.
We need housing and we need it now, and this product can provide that.
The steel-framed modular homes will be built at the A-Links manufacturing facility in Oldcastle. The Amherstburg homes will have a basement. The first floor will be similar to this in-house model with all the amenities along with detail and modern character.
Does it cost less? No. Is the quality higher? Yes. Is it faster? Yes. Because we're building on a day like today when the weather isn't conducive to outside construction.
A cleaner job site and no waiting for inspections, two of the benefits of modular homes built off-site.
They can be servicing the lots at the same time as we're building the houses, at the same time as we're working with the families on their volunteer hours, and they also do, home maintenance training, budgeting training, and a number of other things. So we can do all these things at the same time.
A modular home can be built and delivered within 4 months.
It's going to benefit any family that in the future may want an affordable modular home.
Habitat says the partnership will serve as a model to build affordable housing across the country. Developer Dino Maggio has donated $200,000 to help kickstart a $1 million fundraising campaign supporting the cost of the Amherstburg homes.
In affordability, yes. This will be the new trend. And I commend Dominic and his son. I mean, they're the first ones at bat here, and they're doing a great job.
It's, I think, the today and forward thinking on how to bring a lot of houses to market.
So municipal planning is currently underway for the site in Amherstburg. Habitat for Humanity officials are hoping that they can have a dedication and move-in sometime next summer. Stefanie?
Exciting. Okay, Bob Belichico tonight. Thank you for this. Windsor City Council met today. CTV's Travis Fortnum was there and joins us with the recap. Travis, not a very long meeting this morning, but still lots to talk about.
No, it wasn't very long, Stephanie. Council usually meets every 2 weeks at 10 a.m. and today's session wrapped in just over an hour. Still, there were a few items that stood out. The big topic going into today's meeting was development charges, the fees developers pay to help cover the cost of things like new roads and sewers. Council voting unanimously today to keep those fees frozen for up to 5 years, a move meant to keep Windsor attractive for builders amid some economic uncertainty. The rates were last raised in 2021. Councillor Kieran McKenzie says this motion adds flexibility with a yearly check-in and the option to end the freeze early if conditions change. City staff also clarifying there's no requirement to hold the freeze for the full 5 years. Council can revisit it anytime. Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkens says it's a move that makes sense for now.
If the economy changes in 1 year or 2 years from now, we don't have to wait 5 to go back and update the study. We can do that rather quickly. But right now, at this point in time, it's incumbent, I think, upon the city to play their role, which is making sure that we're not putting any more burden as people are trying to build homes and trying to create development in the community, which of course helps create jobs as well.
The mayor also taking a moment to formally welcome Ward 2 Councillor Fraser Fathers, who won last month's by-election. Today marked his first time around the table as a member of council.
I want to thank Mayor Dilkens and all the members of council for the warm welcome that I've had over the past few days as I've tried to understand the goings-on, and a special thanks to administration as well for all their openness to the many, many questions that I've had, and I'm sure the many, many more questions that I have coming forward.
Maybe you noticed some unusual objects around council chambers in some of those shots. Councillors and staff bringing in toys today, helping kick off Sparky's Toy Drive. Windsor Fire expects the need to be high this year, and families who need help can register at 3 different sign-up events. One on Saturday at Forest Glade Arena, one Sunday at the Gino Marcus Community Center, and one on the 23rd at Hotel de Grace Hospital. Those details are up on our website, ctvnewswindsor.ca. And speaking of the holidays, downtown councillor Ronaldo Agostino is raising a question over when the new City Hall Square ice rink might open.
I do have skates, and I will be one of the first ones out there. And I'm not saying I'm a great skater, but I definitely want to try it out.
Work to shut down the fountains started at the end of October. The $15 million feature to replace the Charles Clark Square rink was initially supposed to open last winter, but it wasn't ready. With the first taste of winter hitting us this weekend, some are itching to see it take shape.
Immediately after the Remembrance Day ceremonies taking place tomorrow, you'll begin to see increased activities here at the square with the plan to have the rink up and running. We don't quite have the official date as of yet, but it's coming soon. It's within the next 3 to 4 weeks now at this point, if everything goes well with the weather.
Chaco also answering a question from Riverside Councillor Joanne Gignac, passed along from residents asking about the Peace Fountain, which was removed in 2023 with a $10 million replacement said to be in place this year. It wasn't. Chaco says crews ran into, quote, some surprises with what work was needed, so there's a new timeline.
the Peace Fountain works start in the spring with construction occurring, and still a good chance that there will be a Peace Fountain up and running at some point in later next year, but there is always the possibilities with the ongoing in waterworks and always through the construction season that it could be potentially delayed by a few months, but the goal is still to have it up and running for some point of the 2026 operating season.
Council convenes again on November 24th. Stefanie.
Only an hour meeting, yet you had so much coverage there. Travis Fortnum tonight, thank you for this. A couple of hours before that meeting, city councilors met with local MPs and MPPs at City Hall to discuss priorities.
How do we surgically look at this and say, what can we do with the seniors to get them off the streets? Because I'm seeing more and more and more of them every day, right? The drugs. Something's got to be done.
Downtown Councillor Ronaldo Agostino is addressing what he is seeing in the core, more seniors homeless and a drug problem that is not going away anytime soon. Those issues and many more were discussed during a pre-council meeting today. Councillor Fred Francis also asking when a decision would finally be made regarding the Ojibwe Urban National Park. He would like Parks Canada to run the national park like they do with Point Pelee, but no decision has been made yet as the bridge gets set to open up in the next coming months. The mayor of LaSalle is calling on the province to level the playing field when it comes to policing costs. At tonight's council meeting, Crystal Meloche plans to ask for approval to send a letter to Ontario's Solicitor General pushing for equitable provincial support for municipalities' policed communities. Meloche says it's unfair that towns with OPP coverage receive $77 million in automatic funding to help with rising costs, while communities like LaSalle must compete for limited grants. She adds that the province is even capping cost increases for OPP towns, a protection LaSalle doesn't get. Meloche says policing costs are expected to rise significantly in the 2026 budget, driven by wage pressures, technology upgrades, and staffing needs. If council agrees, Meloche's letter will urge the province to acknowledge the inequity and work towards a fair funding model for all municipalities. Now, do you have thoughts or comments on a story? We do want to hear from you. Text us at 10400. You can also send photos and videos. Unseen heroes still ahead on Windsor's news leader. Meet Bailey, the service dog whose loyalty and life-saving instincts continue to inspire. Tomorrow, police warn grandparent scams are on the rise. Over 70,000 stolen locally since October. How are these fraudsters fooling families? That's tomorrow at 6 on CTV News. Leaders and climate experts from around the world are in Brazil this week for the start of the Global Climate Summit, COP30. On the agenda, how to rein in the climate crisis before catastrophic warming becomes inevitable. CTV's Scott Hurst reports.
International leaders are being urged to tackle the climate crisis with more urgency and more cooperation, but it comes at a time when some key global partners appear to be backing away from the climate fight.
I am very worried about Canada's participation, given that the recent signals that we have gotten from Prime Minister Carney and his government have only been about moving back on existing policy.
The Canadian delegation might face some criticism at the COP30 summit getting underway in Brazil as climate observers point to the recent budget that's big on development and an expansion of energy projects, but a retreat of some Trudeau-era climate policies. Environment Minister Julie Debruzen, who's leading Canada's delegation, however, pitching the Liberals' climate competitiveness strategy as a shifting approach that she claims will connect climate ambitions with economic growth. But the framework is short on details and provides no update on where Canada stands on emission reduction targets.
This strategy connects our climate ambition with a plan for economic growth. It prioritizes measures that deliver the greatest emissions reductions and increases competitiveness at the lowest cost for Canadians.
To no surprise, U.S. President Donald Trump is not attending COP30. He's been critical of climate science and has pulled the U.S. from the landmark Paris Agreement of a decade ago, meant as a framework to hold nations accountable in limiting warming. That's leading to questions about the relevancy of the summit and its ability to pull nations together when some are pulling back. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
The Prime Minister was out selling his budget today and offered a few more details on Ottawa's Buy Canadian policy, as we mentioned earlier in the show. CTV's Mike Couture breaks down what was said.
With this next round of major projects, the government will face even more pressure to please every province. And the Prime Minister was providing few hints as to where they will go.
The next round of major projects is going to be announced later this week, on Thursday.
So we know when, but we don't know what will be announced in the second phase of the so-called nation-building projects. New Brunswick was left off the first list in September, but Premier Susan Holt is hopeful that won't happen this time.
We've been working hard on a number of projects, and the announcement won't be the interties. It will be one of the other projects that we've been pushing for.
The first round of projects to have federal support included LNG expansion in BC, a small modular reactor project in Ontario, expanded port facilities in Montreal, and 2 mines in Western Canada. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith is pushing for a bitumen pipeline to Tidewater to be on the next list. On her radio show this weekend, she said she's in discussions with the federal government.
We've been going back and forth now daily on a memorandum of understanding, and I hope that we're able to iron out some of the differences that we have in time for Grey Cup or shortly after.
BC's premier has pushed back on a pipeline running through his province, but Prime Minister Carney hasn't ruled one out, possibly dropping a hint last Friday.
One of the things don't worry, we're on the pipeline stuff. Danielle's on line 1. Don't worry, it's going to happen. But well, something's going to happen, let's put it that way.
The Prime Minister's announcement will be in Prince Rupert, BC, perhaps an indication that province will see the approval of another major project. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
As Canadians pause to remember and honor those who serve tomorrow, a Windsor woman is shining a light on the unsung heroes who stand beside them.
Look. Cover. Back. Heel. This is what she would do to protect you from anything in the field. And that's just basic service dog training.
This is Bailey, a 12-year-old black retriever service dog who spent much of her life helping veteran Karen Sutcliffe. Bailey detects changes in mood or anxiety and responds. When Karen passed away in 2023, Bailey began staying with a family friend who says the dog still carries many of its old instincts. Bonnie Broderick hopes Bailey's story reminds people this Remembrance Day of the silent service animals performing life-changing work every day.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can be a killer. It can push people to suicide. It can push them to so many horrible things, coma, you name it. She's got the skills and the training to bring them out of a lot of that. Just her visits every week to the hospital to Karen were very important because Karen would focus on her.
U.S. wine sales in Canada fell 91% in the second quarter of this year after Canadian provinces pulled them from shelves. It's created an opening in the market that Canadian vineyards are hoping to fill. But despite the push to buy Canadians, alcohol producers still face major barriers when trying to sell to other parts of the country. That's according to a new report from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. The report blames outdated rules and complicated processes for blocking Canadian producers from reaching new domestic markets. They say a lack of energy for change has resulted in a fragmented system that drives up costs, limits choices, and stifles small producers' growth. Strength in the technology and base metal sectors helped Canada's main stock index today. In Toronto, the TSX gained 404 points. In New York, the Dow added 382, the Nasdaq up 523. The Canadian dollar rose almost a quarter cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained $112 an ounce, oil added 38 cents a barrel. The province is investing in hope. $1.5 million for reproductive care in Windsor. Details when we return.
Thanks to Larissa for this great image. Lest we forget, an important day tomorrow, Remembrance Day, of course. We'll also talk chilly temperatures tonight into tomorrow morning. Next on CTV News Windsor.
Snow on the ground there, Gary. There's nothing better than having your kids look outside the window for the first time of the season and just seeing the lawn blanketed in snow.
Well, I'm a big kid. I like to see the snow as well. And we got into it significantly across parts of southern and southwestern Ontario where we live, where it counts the most. The commute this morning, as forecast last week, we knew that Sunday until Monday would be cold and windy and cold enough to see even a bit of a wintry mix. We're still in fall, yes, but winter-like conditions, they bleed between the two seasons, no doubt. Temperatures well below seasonal today. Looking at minus 0.5 for a high. Our norm is plus 9.6 degrees Celsius. The air quality is decent. We've seen intermittent cloud through the early stage of the evening. It is still windy, and it will be windy tonight, with gusts in the 40 to low 50 range. Sustained winds in the 30s. It's -1 at the airport in Windsor. So too under partially cloudy skies in Chatham-Kent. That's 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It feels like about -7 to -8. Yes, wind chill is a factor, no doubt. And all due to this massive spin counterclockwise circulation, a comma-shaped pattern. We can identify it from satellite imagery like this. And of course, the radar returns showing lake enhanced and lake effect snow coming off Lake Michigan, Huron, Erie, Ontario, even eastern Lake Superior, all due to this singular massive system. Warmer air will start to seep into the core and change some of this snow we anticipate into some rain. The next 24 hours, most of the damage, so to speak, the precipitation lies to our west or to our east. We're in a bit of a pocket, bit of a reprieve because we're at the core of this system, and it's sort of like the eye of the storm. Most of the snow, the heaviest amounts, lie in the Strathroy and London area, 15+ centimeters in the next 24 hours. Tonight, between -3 and -4 under cloudy skies, partially cloudy through to midnight. Tomorrow's November the 11th, Remembrance Day. We're looking at +2 at around 4 o'clock, flurries in the morning. Wednesday, 8 degrees, we're rebounding. Possible flurries. And then sunny Thursday and Friday with 9 and 10, followed by 12, 14, and 8 as we head towards a week from now. Courtesy of our friends at Enercare.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
Windsor-Essex couples will soon be closer to the reality of starting a family. The province is investing $1.5 million in Victory Reproductive Care in Windsor to help families access publicly funded fertility treatments. The funding from the Ontario Fertility Program will support more than 160 in vitro fertilization cycles. The province says this will improve access and reduce wait times for local couples. Dr. Victory says the funding boost, along with previous investments by the province, means they will be able to help nearly 300 couples start or expand their families.
Fertility is a growing concern. Right now we know that about 1 out of every 6 couples is infertile. So this is a huge dilemma in the population, and so now this is really going to help us to solve that problem.
Erie Shores Healthcare launching a pediatric respiratory clinic in response to the start of the flu season. The dedicated pediatric clinic is expected to offer quick assessment and care for children and youth with mild to moderate respiratory symptoms. Those symptoms can include cough, cold, fever, sore throat, wheezing, and asthma flare-ups. The clinic is staffed by a pediatrician and will operate on Thursdays from 4 to 7 p.m. starting this week and running until March 31st. Appointments can be booked online. Drop-ins without an appointment will also be accepted. Families are encouraged to use the clinic for non-emergency respiratory concerns. Just in time for the winter weather, the UHC Hub of Opportunities has launched its annual Coats for Kids campaign to help local families stay warm this season.
UHC took over the program in 2002, and then annually we've been able to deliver it for folks across Windsor, Essex, and Leamington.
The 2025 distribution kicked off on Saturday at the UHC's Cantillon Drive location in Windsor. For nearly 4 decades, the program has helped thousands of children and adults find winter coats, hats, and mittens at no cost. Families are invited to shop for gently used and new items, a setup that organizers say helps preserve dignity while ensuring everyone finds the right fit. This year, UHC is expanding its reach with several distribution sites across Windsor, Essex. More than 6,000 coats are given out each year thanks to community partners.
You can visit uhc.ca to find all the distribution sites, the dates and times. But we're at Hotel Dew on Prince Road, ourselves here on Cantillon, South Essex Community Centre in Leamington, and then there's one in Amherstburg and Bell River as well.
Canada has officially been stripped of its measles elimination status. This means that after nearly 3 decades of being disease-free, the highly contagious viral infection has come back with a vengeance. It has resurged in almost all provinces, primarily because of declining vaccinations. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver takes a deeper dive into the return of the preventable childhood illness.
Measles is one of the world's most contagious diseases, but low vaccination rates leading to a year of outbreaks across the country have lost Canada its measles-free status.
Everything's pointing in the right direction. Unfortunately, we couldn't stop the outbreak completely in time to lose our elimination status. But the direction of travel is that we will get it back.
Canada received its measles elimination status in 1998 after decades of rallying to stop its circulation. But now the virus has come roaring back. From 1998 to 2024, an average of just 91 cases were reported annually. So far this year, 4,800 cases have been confirmed, with another 362 considered probable.
It's because of some localized areas that have been under-immunized. And it's a shame because it's not a reflection of overall Canadian experience.
Measles infects the respiratory tract and then spreads throughout the body, with a rash and high fever the most common symptoms. While most recover, it can cause deafness and, in rare cases, death.
The second the rash starts, it's like anybody would know. Literally from head to toe, under their feet, in between their toes, everything.
Michelle Sear's daughter was hospitalized with the measles last month. Sear has no idea where she caught it.
Make sure you do your vaccinations. That's my biggest concern, because if I was a little late with hers, and I think that if I would have got it on time, then maybe she wouldn't have got it.
The Public Health Agency of Canada says transmission is slowing, but that it will take time to finish this outbreak. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up on Windsor's News Leader, what caused a freighter to become stuck in the Detroit River and how likely it is to happen again. A Canadian freighter that ran aground in the Detroit River on Friday afternoon was successfully refloated on Saturday.
We see ships going back and forth all the time, and I then read this morning that it was stuck, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go down and check it out.
The Right Honorable Paul J. Martin had become stuck near downtown Detroit in one of the region's busy shipping lanes. According to Windsor Harbor Master Peter Berry, the grounding came at a time of unusually low water levels. The vessel had been traveling from Sault Ste. Marie to Quebec with a load of iron ore when the crew made an unplanned stop in Detroit for a medical emergency. The situation worsened by strong west winds on Friday that pulled significant volumes of water out of the Great Lakes system, causing water levels in the river to drop. The boat, named after Windsor's own former famed MP, Paul J. Martin, was freed just before 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
This was, unfortunately, the perfect storm for this vessel. They did the right thing. They dropped off a crew member to get medical attention when they came to power. The strong winds of yesterday, the gust blew it into the shallower part of the river.
The town of Tecumseh honored Canada's fallen soldiers with a Remembrance Day service outside Town Hall this past weekend.
We need to educate our youth, especially in the schools, and that's why schools are open on November 11th, so that they do many activities to honor and acknowledge the veterans and to keep the tradition going and the memories alive of all those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
The parade led the way to the Tecumseh Cenotaph, where veterans, first responders, and residents gathered for a solemn ceremony. Deputy Mayor and Essex County Deputy Warden Joe Picket says it's important to continue the tradition and teach younger generations the meaning behind it. Tecumseh Town Hall has also been illuminated red over the past several days in honor of Veterans Week.
We should be thankful every day. In particular, what's transpiring around the world today. There is no doubt in my mind that Canada is the greatest country in the world, and we owe a debt of gratitude to the men and women who stood in front of this country for since its existence.
The message is that we should all live in peace, and well, that's basically it.
And in Windsor, a remembrance service at Miracle Park in Riverside honored veterans and active service members. Saturday's service near the Cenotaph saw community members, cadets, and local officials gather in another solemn parade. The event also marked National Indigenous Veterans Day, included wreath laying, the last post, and a moment of reflection.
Remembrance Day is a small amount of time to come out and close your eyes and say thank you to every man and woman that stepped forward in every incursion, every war, and in peacekeeping exercises to make sure that we do continue it.
The Polish community in Windsor gathered over the weekend to mark both Poland's Independence Day and a century of the Polish People's Home Association. A wreath-laying ceremony was held in front of the Dom Polski on Langois Avenue to honor generations who helped preserve Polish culture and independence in Windsor. The event followed a weekend of celebrations, part of the 100th anniversary festivities. Organizers say the milestone reflects the strength and pride of Windsor's Polish community. The Polish People's Home Association was founded in 1925 and remains one of the oldest cultural organizations in Windsor.
This is a special occasion, and we are very happy to the previous members, to the volunteers, to the directors, and because, thanks to them, we could celebrate that 100 years anniversary because they work very hard.
A Windsor event is striking a chord with Taylor Swift fans. And honoring the memory of an Essex teen whose favorite artist brought her strength during her cancer journey. At the Foglar Furlan Club on Sunday, a Swiftie night for Jada invited fans to take part in friendship bracelet making, a Taylor-themed selfie wall, and a live concert tribute. The event raised money for the Jada Cartier Foundation, created in memory of Jada, who passed away in 2024 after a 14-month battle with brain cancer. Funds will help launch research into rare childhood cancers like DMG and support families facing similar challenges.
She battled it fiercely. Every day was a new beginning for her, and it was never no why me. It was she grasped the world each day, and she was just glad to be part of it. And we're here to continue our promise tour.
Rock fans, get ready. 3 Days Grace are returning to Windsor.
Tell me when it's over. Don't make me ask.
The multi-platinum rockers hit the Coliseum stage at Caesars Windsor on May 1st as part of their Alienation tour. With the return of the original frontman and hits like I Hate Everything About You and Animal I Have Become, fans can expect an unforgettable night of hard-hitting anthems. They will be joined by special guest Royal Tusk. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at caesarswindsor.com and ticketmaster.ca.
We will never forget your bravery, your strength, your sacrifice.
The very best and bravest of our nation. These heroic souls stood on guard for freedom.
Join the CTV News team and me as Canada comes together to remember.
Remembrance Day 2025, Tuesday morning at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on CTV.
This is your CTV Windsor Hour Community Calendar. Windsor Light Music Theater presents Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat with ASL interpretation November the 21st. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. And Melanie, we have more from police after several crashes on the 401 yesterday.
Yeah, that's right, Stephanie. So Essex County OPP have some tips for drivers if they happen to be involved in a crash, especially in bad weather.
Assess the situation. Are you injured? If you are, call 911. If not, call the non-emergency line. Move yourself to off the road if possible. Remain in your vehicle. Do not get out of your vehicle in these situations. The weather can be bad, visibility can be terrible. You're putting yourself at further risk if you get outside the vehicle.
We've got more details on the crashes at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
Okay, we also have a story online, Melanie, about recent retail thefts.
Yes, Windsor police have arrested one suspect and are looking for a second after two separate retail thefts. Police say about $1,400 in tools were stolen from a business on Cabana Road. The incidents took place on October 24th and 28th. A week later, the first suspect was arrested. We put the description of the second suspect on our website. And in our social spotlight, here's a great idea for cruise entertainment. So her brothers made hundreds of invitations to their whale show on the cruise, and hundreds of people showed up. I think they're doing a great job with those whale moves, Stephanie.
I wonder how many hours they spent during the day trying to prep for this, or maybe they've been prepping for this a couple days in advance on the cruise, but definitely looks like those guys are having a good time, and maybe they collect some tips on the way out when they were done.
Yeah, I think so. They have a lot of different moves.
Okay, Melanie, thank you so much, and that's what's happening now. You could say this Ohio cop really took the bull by the horns when responding to a strange call. Details when we return. Well, we can expect another cold day. Will that snow stick around for a bit or no?
I'm breaking out the fall fashion. If winter wants to show up a little early, you know, forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, for saying winter. It is fall, and fall has characteristics that bleed into winter-like conditions. Case in point, the snow on the ground. As forecast, ladies and gentlemen, so you can't say I didn't tell you. Tomorrow, still cold. Tonight's quite cold, in fact. The overnight temperature down to about -3 before dawn tomorrow morning, feeling like about -10. It will be windy tomorrow morning. Remembrance Day, of course, Poppy is important. Only a high of 2. Our average is about 9. We'll get up to 8 on Wednesday, a chance of a mix. Then 9, 10, 12, 14, 8. We are going to rebound. Wednesday is really that demarcation point from below seasonal and back to more normalized temperatures. In fact, above seasonal as we head towards the weekend.
Okay, great. Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
Sanjay, you are on deck for us tonight. What are you working on?
Yeah, Stephanie, we talked earlier in the show about how in the town of LaSalle, they are feeling about growing inequity and how the province helps cover rising policing costs. Tonight, we're keeping an eye on what happens at council. Mayor Crystal Malash wants to ask the province to extend provincial funding to municipalities with their own police force and create a fair funding model for everyone. We'll have that story and much more tonight at 11.
Okay, thank you. We end tonight with a suspicious persons call where an Ohio police officer experienced a believe it or not moment. Turns out the man wasn't so suspicious, as he was conspicuous riding a full-grown bull named Gus. Take a look at this, to a tractor supply store in Alliance, Ohio. The first words out of the officer's mouth when he got out of the car was, quote, "I have so many questions." The man told officers he was just passing through town for a rodeo and decided to give Gus a little exercise. And instead of writing a ticket, the responding officer did what any true cowboy at heart would do, hopped on the bull himself for a quick photo op. No charges were filed, thankfully, but the bull certainly stampeded into the spotlight. I don't know if I would do the same thing.
Cool officer.
Yeah, he's
cool officer.
Okay, any officer that would ticket that guy, come on.
Yeah, a lot
Come
of
on
questions.
now.
I would not be afford the ticket.
Would you get on the bull?
No, I would not.
Would you get on the bull?
I would, 100%.
Really?
100%.
Okay, I'm kind of iffy about it, but everyone, it looks like, had a good time.
Yeah.
No injuries. We'll
No
see.
injuries.
I don't know what happened at the rodeo, but at least in this instant, everyone is safe. On behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching.
For updates, as always, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we'll be back with your only late local newscast at 11.
Good night.
Good night.